There's a gun activist group called Open Carry Texas, and they like to stage rallies and marches where everyone that's part of the group is heavily armed, and they go into public places with unsuspecting citizens around them who are looking around like, whoa, what is this? Did I just get caught up in like people trying to bring back a civil war or something? I don't understand what's going on. Well, earlier this month, a woman was driving her car and she saw this giant horde of people all with guns, and she was scared. She didn't know what was happening. She didn't know that they were part of some sort of group that's protesting and that this is how they protest because it wasn't clear. So what she did is what any sane person would do in that scenario. She picked up the phone and she called 911 and she let them know the situation. She let them know that she was scared. And Open Carry Texas heard about this and they didn't like what this woman did. So what happened? Well, they filed a Freedom of Information Act request and found out the woman's information, posted the information online, and now people are threatening her even more. Saying like, oh, you're against the Second Amendment, you're against freedom, how dare you come after my guns, that ain't right. And look, man, they also went further and promised in an April 13th Facebook post to publicly identify anyone and everyone who calls 911 to report the group's actions, and they will also be harassed. So this is yet another example. You've gone too far. Okay, you've gone too far. And that's not to say, hey, there should never be any groups that are in favor of standing up for the Second Amendment or fighting for whatever you like, open carry, you name it, right? And there should be people on all sides of the political spectrum that argue for their different belief systems. I would, sympathize with groups that call for universal background checks or banning of high-capacity magazines, and groups that are against gun anarchy because the gun anarchists terribly misinterpret the Second Amendment. They don't know what the fuck it means, and they don't know the history of it, right? But either way, okay, yeah, you have a right to talk about these things and protest in favor of what you want. That's your First Amendment right. I would defend that to the death, right? But you cross a line when you then decide to threaten people who disagree with you and to violate their privacy and put their stuff online when they didn't give you permission to put their stuff online, and then now they're experiencing threats all the time. See, now you've crossed a line. And this is what bothers me, is that people don't have a sense of perspective. Think about how would any rational person react in that scenario, even if they're part of the Open Carry Texas group. What would they say? They say, oh, okay, I see, it was a misunderstanding. She thought that we maybe were criminals because she didn't see any of the signs we were holding or anything. She just saw a bunch of guys with guns on their backs. She didn't know if we were going to rob somebody or going to shoot up someplace. She had no idea. She had no fucking idea. And in fact, the 911 tape is clear she's like, I don't know what's going on here. I'm kind of scared, people with guns all over the place, right? So what would a sane person do? Oh, okay, she didn't understand it. Now she gets it. Now it's fine, right? But no, they go after her. How dare you be afraid because you see people with guns? What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to erase what you actually feel? Oh, people with guns, I'll just act like it's normal and act like I'm not afraid and act like I don't feel like I'm in danger when I do feel like I'm in danger. I mean, how ridiculous are you that you expect people to respond like that? And what came to my mind when I read this is I imagine it was my mother. I imagine it was my mother. She's just driving along. She sees people with fucking guns walking down the street, protesting something, but she doesn't know they're protesting something. She just sees a horde of people with guns, and she calls 911. And then they release her information, and she gets harassed. Oh, my God, man. Look, I'm not one of those people who those arguments usually work on me, like the pull of your heartstrings, what if it was your family kind of argument. But with a scenario like this, man, it gets me fired up. It gets me, you're going to threaten somebody. You're going to threaten another human being. Put their information out there. Eliminate their right to privacy. Because they misinterpreted what you were doing and you think that's out of bounds. Please, have a little bit of common sense. Have a little bit of rationality. Be a little bit open-minded. But then again, I don't know why I'm arguing with people who are gun anarchists and I'm expecting them to put two and two together because clearly they're not capable of doing that.